I really haven't been bullied. If I was bullied, it was just my brother was a senior when I was a freshman, and so I'm sure his friends and he gave me a hard time, but it was never what I would consider bullying. You know.
What do you react to when you see?
I have zero tolerance for it. It's not okay. I do everything I can to make sure it's nipped in the bud as fast as possible.
What do you think starts it?
Every bully I've ever known in my life, generally it's the bully that's lacking self-esteem, and for whatever reason, by knocking other people down, it makes them feel better. So generally it's, somebody's looking for a way to make themselves feel better, and for some weird reason, making you feel bad makes them feel better.
Have you ever been bullied?
Yes, I have.
Okay. How do you react to bullying?
Now that I'm a lot more mature and have a lot more life experience, I tend to slough it off, but as an adult, I don't tolerate it.
Okay. What do you think that spawns bullying?
What spawns bullying?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lot of things, some that are perceived, so like, I'm short, I'll call that out. I think people with disabilities are often picked on, those that don't maybe fit in with the in crowd. I think those are a lot of things that spawn bullying, and I think it's also what spawns bullying is I think when you get a group of people that are very, very like-minded and they see anybody that's different than them, I think that also spawns bullying. So I think sometimes the lack of diversity also spawns bullying.
Actually, I have been bullied. When I was in middle school, I had a young man tell me that he was going to bring cottage cheese balloons and urine-filled balloons on the bus and throw them at my friends and myself. And as a result of that, I told him that I was going to be bringing water guns to school to shoot on the bus that were full of like soda and things like that. Anything I could think of, really, because when you're mad in those moments, you just want to get back at that person, Well, he went and told the middle school principal that I was going to bring a gun to school and shoot up the entire school. So that resulted in an out-of-school suspension for myself when I was in middle school. And my mom believed me because I was telling the truth. He did not like me, so in return, he didn't really get in trouble or anything. We just never got along after that. I kind of left him alone. And I got to go out and get my nails done and go shopping with my mom. Because she thought it was bogus that, the principal thought I was going to bring a gun to school.
Okay. How do you react to bullying?
It just depends on the situation. I want to make sure that everyone is being educated about the bullying situation first. So instead of feeling pity or sympathy for the victim right away, I want to make sure that I feel those emotions for all parties involved rather than just taking one side to start with. That way everything's equal.
Okay. What do you think spawns bullying?
What spawns bullying?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one to answer because I think a lot of it comes from inward insecurities and people not really knowing why they choose to do things. They just choose to react with what comes to them first, and sometimes our first impulse isn't always our best choice. Maybe they're reaching out for help, maybe they're crying out for attention, maybe their day has been going wrong and they have all of these projects built up and then they just get stressed and they blow up on someone, and maybe sometimes you bully the ones you love too, especially when you feel comfortable with them. It's kind of like when you've been married for a while, you go home and you blow up on your spouse because they know that you're having a bad day, and at the end of the day, you feel comfortable blowing up on them because you know they're still going to love you.
I feel bullying is something that's done by an individual who has something going on internally, or they're having some issues, and the only way they can handle those issues is to try and tear somebody else down.
Have you ever been bullied?
Yes. I think every human being in their life in some way, shape, or form has been bullied. But I think it's really all about how you handle it and how you have that conversation.
And how do you prevent stopping it?
How do you stop it?
Yeah.
From student perspective, teacher perspective? How do you, just in general?
In general, yeah.
In general, I think the best means of stopping it is, making sure to have a conversation with that individual. Don't do anything to agitate the individual. Talk to them about what the issue is, and if it can't be handled through through communication. Maybe there's miscommunication of some sorts, then obviously it needs to definitely be taken to the next level. Talking to, depending on your situation, if you're in a school setting, obviously talking to a teacher or administrator about the situation. Definitely needs to be something that's addressed, without a doubt.
How do you feel about bullying?
It's not cool. It hurts both the people involved that's being bullied and the bully itself.
Have you ever been bullied, and what would you do to stop it?
I have been bullied when I was younger, and when I was younger I kind of took it and just let it bottle up, which is not healthy. So when I see it happening now, I will confront the person that's doing the bullying, and I also report it as needed so they get the proper repercussions.
How do you feel about bullying?
Bullying is a problem, but I also feel like there is a difference, and some people don't know the difference between bullying, joking around, and just lighthearted fun sort of thing. So I think there needs to be those distinct differences that people need to know.
Have you ever been bullied before?
My entire high school career, junior high career, yeah.
And what would you do to prevent or stop?
I think it's most important to either say something if you're comfortable doing so, or telling somebody that bullying is happening, or you think bullying is happening, and let adults or let other people make an assessment as well.
About bullying.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I think, unfortunately, it exists, and it's always going to exist. And you just do everything you can to try and help prevent it.
What would you do to stop it, and have you ever been bullied?
I think everybody at some point in their life has been bullied or picked on and not really appreciated it. What would I do to prevent it or stop it? I mean, in the position that I'm in, I have an opportunity to stop it just because I'm kind of what's the word I'm looking for? An adult figure? That's what I was looking for. So I think it's easiest for me because I have a pretty good rapport with most students, so the level of respect helps me stop it, I guess, when I see it. Is that it?
I have, back when elementary school, when I was a little bit younger. I have, yep.
What do you think starts bullying?
Typically the bully has kind of issues which they're trying to work with as well. And then they feel that taking it out with other people is an easier way to go, and also this idea of them trying to appear and be a certain way in order to get acknowledgement from other individuals.
What do you think spawns bullying?
Being quiet. Like individuals that don't say anything, like that's what allows this to take place. If we were up front and spoke out against it as it occurred, it wouldn't happen, because then the bully no longer has any recognition for their actions.
Have you ever been bullied?
Yes, I was bullied in junior high. I had acne as a kid, and I was made fun of, and I also was a tomboy per se, so I played basketball with a lot of the boys, and I feel the girls were jealous because they would make fun of me, and I actually would go home crying nightly, so it was a pretty awful junior high experience for me.
How do you react to bullying?
I'm pretty passionate when it comes to bullying, just given my past history of it. I feel like it's an epidemic that is just taking over our youth and adults as well. I feel like we just need to be more tolerant of each other and accept everyone's shortcomings.
What do you think spawns bullying?
I feel it's insecurities, maybe, that people are insecure about something, so they need to lash out on someone else to make somebody else feel less, so they could pick themselves up, make themselves feel better.
Have you ever been bullied?
Have I? Oh, yes, many times.
How do you react to bullying?
Well, didn't like it. Hurt my feelings. When it would happen at school, maybe not want to go to school. So, didn't like it.
What do you think spawns bullying?
I think sometimes people just they get this feeling that they have to prove that they're better than you are.
Okay, so our question for you is, why do you think bullying happens? What do you think is the main cause of bullying?
The main cause of bullying is probably because some people feel insecure within themselves, and the way they make themselves feel better is to try to bully other people.
That's a good response. Okay, second question, have you ever been bullied?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My mom was a bully. She was. If you didn't do what she told you to do, she'd hit you. That's a bully. When I was in school, girls would follow me home and we were doing embroidery. We had these needles, and because they were calling me and I wouldn't wait, because they were mean girls, one of them stuck me in the rear end with a needle. Mean girls. Insecure, angry about their own lives. So people who are hurting or angry try to hurt or make others angry.
Okay, so our first question is, how many times have you seen bullying like around the school? Like just a rough estimate.
That I know 100% is bullying. Just a couple.
Have you ever been bullied?
By its specific definition, maybe a little.
I think bullying is a problem. Unfortunately, bullying is a difficult problem to solve because we don't always know that it's happening. If I witness bullying, I always tend to it directly. I will sit kids down who bully people, have discussions with them, punish them if necessary, try to talk to them about it. And I also talk to kids that are being bullied, see if there's something we can do to help them out, see if we can make them feel better. So I always like to take care of the problem if I can.
What is your personal opinion on bullying? Like, what do you think, like, why do you think it happens?
It can happen for several reasons. Sometimes people feel so disgruntled and messed up inside, it's the only way that they know how to basically get it out, if you will. Sometimes it's poor social skills. Sometimes it's just plain being. There's a lot of things that can lead up to it. Sometimes it's because the conflict escalates. It's because you got a lot of drama. People start calling each other names and they do not know how to properly respond to each other. And so then it becomes vile and heinous, if you will. So there's a lot of different things that can cause it. What I find is students that treat each other with kindness, decency, and respect, they don't have issues with it. But students that struggle in the social arena, that struggle interacting with others, or think sometimes very highly of themselves, they can struggle and fall into the trap of bullying others.